and welcoming back to the studio, Justin Smith. Kia ora, good morning.
Good morning. It's been a minute.
It has been, yeah, with one thing and another. Although a conversation that we had off air, which I said, hey, let's bring this into the sanctuary, as it were, to use that term, about encouraging children to develop financial literacy and even financial independence from a very young age. Now, this is something you're working with your boys at the moment?
Yeah, I'm right in the mix. So I've got two boys. My eldest is 14, my second is 10, and I've got a 3-year-old daughter who's a whiles away yet.
She can, you'll work out the bugs of the system, and then it'll be all ready for her once she... Yeah.
Absolutely, and she'll probably do the best out of all three of them, potentially. But no, yeah, I'm right in the thick of this. It's a really fascinating period of time, just navigating, I suppose, society, culture, and especially sort of, economy.
Yeah.
At such an age of 10 and 14, and helping them understand, commerce and just finance in general is actually, there's so much to it, and there's some incredible stuff out there that's helping our journey.
So, you're the digital guy, so I'm assuming that there's some digital tools that you're engaging with to help your boys to get their head around money and how to use it, right?
Oh, yes, and I think importantly is the education piece around understanding for them. Money is a really tricky topic for a lot of people, especially here in Aotearoa.
Yep.
We all have really independent, unique relationships with money. And so for me, a huge part of it is for them to understand that money is just a tool for them to live the lifestyle that they want to live.
Okay.
And so, being able to establish the goals, and they each have different ones, and therefore start to map a path of, well, how am I going to achieve those things? Whether it's the purchase of, the PlayStation 5 or the ability to purchase a car in a few years.
Yeah.
But, it's been really fascinating helping them.
That whole thing of money being your servant, not your master in that regard. But let's jump on the PlayStation versus the car, because this is something which adults struggle with as well. Delayed gratification. Okay, if I don't get this thing that I really want now, I might be able to get this other thing which is more expensive later. But I suppose commerce pushes against this and say, why not buy it now? Why not borrow the money?
Yeah.
These are the principles you're teaching your boys?
Yeah, and the consumerism is the main one. So my 10-year-old last summer, he figured out that if he goes and buys a slab of drinks from the local supermarket, and he went down to our local sports field over summer where kids are playing sports, training after schools. We live opposite a tennis centre where, that's a thirsty sort of an operation over summer. And he was selling drinks and managed to get some capital off his grandmother, started with $20, went down to the local supermarket, bought a bunch of stock, shoved the chili bin full of ice, and by time summer had finished, he had amassed $200 as well as a stocked mini fridge full of stock.
Wow.
Which once summer left and he was just left with this money, he ended up just chewing through it by, Dad, can I buy, when you go to the supermarket with your kids, any parent out there can relate with this one, is, hey, can I have such and such? And the answer is usually no, because, it's not a wise use of our money at this point in time.
But at this point, it's his money.
Exactly.
He earned it. He worked all summer. He's got $200 to spend on chocolate and gum.
100%, and the kombucha and the bread rolls. And so, that he's spent all of it. And now we're back in summer. He's back in this space. But now with these new, digital tools that we've enabled them with to help actually have that delayed gratification, that learning of discipline and matching goals to our actions.
Back in my day when, my boys are all in their 20s and 30s now, but back in my day we had 3 jars. Okay, and we gave them actual coins and money and that type of stuff. And you can put some money in the, hey, I'm saving this, some money in the, I can spend this week. And then we had a 3rd jar, well, you could give this away. Most of the money got spent before the end of the week, just saying.
Yeah, the jars principle. I mean, the principles themselves aren't necessarily new, but it's the implementation and it's the action piece. A lot of people actually know the fundamentals of, these principles and understanding, but actually putting them into action is a totally different thing. And that's so too with our health and diet or any area of your life. So with this, there's a whole suite of new digital tools out there, apps, one of which we have implemented for our kids, which help actually enable some of those actions where...
Talk us through how that works for them. How do they take this digital tool and divvy up their money, make choices about where it's going?
So the first one is, for our kids at least, what we've helped encourage them to do is set up, first of all, they have giving, they have long-term savings, and then after that, they have their goals, and they go in that order. So they have every time they get money, they have a portion they put aside into each of those jars. Now,
Okay.
in my case, we've implemented the use of an app called Square One, which is a app that's designed, developed here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, to help build financial literacy and competency. That's the action part of it. In our young kids, which is amazing. And
Wow.
so we've put our kids onto that. It gives them the ability to transact using PayWave with their phone. They get sent an actual card. They have an app if they have a smartphone. And as a parent, I can help manage and see what's
Okay.
going in and out. But most importantly, it helps them when they receive money to be able to allocate it into these different areas, what the app calls pockets, what we used to call jars.
Yeah.
And obviously being in a digital tech, space, you can put hard limits on that. You know, when you put into this pocket, you can't take that out unless you've got a double handshake and we all agree. Or maybe this one's a bit more fluid and, for example, my 14-year-old allocates a portion of his money. He's got his giving, he's got his long-term savings, and then he's got sort of his op shopping money because he likes to thrift.
Okay.
So he might throw $20 in there a month, and that gives him the freedom to go, look, I have other money too, but I'm going to make sure that I can fulfill my...
And he's got some freedom that's a little bit more liquid.
Totally.
He can make choices about that without having to say, hey, Dad, what do you think? You know?
And without getting to the end, emptying the bucket and going, oh, I really want this thing that I don't have the means for now because I never had the discipline to set aside for it. How can I go about, borrowing some money and getting into this IOU, which is, going backwards?
Yeah, buy now, pay later.
No.
Exactly. That's the big trap, not just for the kids, but for the adults as well. Sounds like you're setting them up. Raise a child in the way they should go. What's been the response from your boys though? They loving it or are they pushing back?
They are absolutely loving it, and I think because it's that perfect balance. At least with Square One, the app that we've implemented in our whānau, it's the perfect balance of giving the kids freedom. Freedom to go out there and, I just absolutely wasted $20 on kombuchas over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here going, I really wish I hadn't have done that. But while also giving the parental
They
oversight.
sit in the consequences, right?
Yeah, totally. And it's helping them build resilience and have these lessons within a framework that's nurturing and encouraging in an environment that's safe, and that as parents we can have visibility and, help guide them through, their financial sort of.
And I think it's very wise from a parent's point of view as well, because the child that sells drinks at the tennis club in summer is the same child that's going to grow up and choose the retirement home that you live in one day. So you want to make sure he's making good financial decisions, right?
Absolutely.
Square One is the app to look at. But Justin, thank you for sharing this story. Thanks for being on the program today.
Anytime.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.